So it's cold outside.
It's getting there.
What do we want to do in our garden? Well, we don't necessarily have to go out in our garden to be doing stuff for our garden. We're talking about now's the time to be worrying about our tools.
Tools, we're all pretty, or at least I'm pretty notorious about, leaving my pruners and my shovels, and they'd stay dirty and unsharpened all winter, and then they get rusty, and then I may or may not have to replace them at the end of the season, or at the first of the season. But yeah, hanging up in our backyard, and we've got an itching, you got a good, nice weekend or a good evening that's a nice outside. Be a good idea to go ahead and get those tools, look at them, sharpen them, clean the dirt off of them, clean the rust off of them, and then store them back again to get them throughout the wintertime.
Well, I've brought some of mine from home just for example. Of course, this would look a lot better if I didn't save it for an example for the show.
That's right.
It would be all cleaned and looking great.
You was saving it for that. That's good.
Yeah, but
That's
most of
good.
our shovels look like this after we used them,
Yeah.
and it'll deteriorate over time. So clean that dirt off. You can use a file, sand it down, and then maybe spray a little WD-40 on it.
Yeah,
and
just
wipe it off with a rag.
Light coating of oil should help you, and then it won't. That dirt's going to attract moisture, so that moisture's going to attract rust. So, yep.
The same thing on our trowels.
Trowels, yep.
The trowels, to clean that off of there. Again, a file, you can sharpen that. And the same thing on our pruners. This one needs a good cleaning and some oil and maybe a little file on there to help it.
Knock the edges off, kind of sharpen it up. And again, if we keep those pruners closed like that and we get a little moisture in there, it can rust.
Right.
And then we're out another $30-$40 on a new set of pruners. So a little upfront area, little upfront things to do, and that can help us. And our shovels, you don't think about sharpening shovels, but you can run a file on those. It doesn't take long, and you'll be ready to go, good to go for the spring when we happen. So yeah,
take care of our tools, and they'll take care of us.
That's right.
That's
right. Some of the wood, wood handle could use an oiling to kind of moisten up that wood. So little things like that can help you along the way. And even lawnmowers. I mean, your lawnmower's kind of put up, and you're kind of itching to get out in the garden. Sharpen those blades. I mean, we mentioned that earlier on in episodes previous. But get in there and pull those blades off, sharpen them up, put them back on, then you're ready to go.
That way, in the spring when you have to mow, you can just go mow.
Go mow. Don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, it's a lot of things that we could be doing with our tools to help us later on and help extend that life of those tools. So
right.
Yep.
And outside, there's some stuff we could do outside. Clean up the debris, the garden debris.
That's right. Our leaves have kind of piled up along the. We talked about leaves in the last episode, but from the trees. But if leaves pile up from the wind, and we get a little bit of wind in the wintertime, maybe pull those back a little bit where it's not suffocating. Our pansies and maybe our bulbs that are going to start popping up before long. Get those out, mulch them in. That's all things to think of. And then mulch itself. You said you mulched last week again, so.
Right.
Good thing to do.
I mean, in the fall, we've had our mulch. In the spring, it's kind of deteriorated and starts to decompose. It doesn't hurt to put a little bit more fresh mulch on, especially like around my strawberries.
Yeah.
I need to remulch my strawberries because prep them for the winter so they'll survive.
Yep.
So there's things we can do with that, and then hoses. I can remember hoses or.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm calling the plumber.
I'm afraid I've got a couple hoses that's still attached, so I need to, I need to go out and take those off. That way we can drain on those frost freeze. And then the other thing's irrigation. Irrigation lines. If we still have water to our irrigation, if you're lucky enough to have a shutoff valve to your irrigation system, go shut that off, open those lines up. That'll help drain a little bit and help prevent us from doing our plumbing repairs every spring that we seem to always have. A little forethought helps us later on.
Right. So there's some things we could be doing that are going to help us in the long term. It's really preparation for next year.
Yeah, we're not far off. A couple months we'll be into the spring, and we'll start seeing bulbs pop up, and things are going to start happening pretty quick. But all of those prep stuff's going to help us later on.